What's up, everybody? Welcome to the HollingsWorthless Podcast. As always, the mascot Phil Fox is here.
Oh, yes, I am so stoked.
and our guest co-host hasn't been here for a while, Mr. Tyler Smith.
Hello.
Co-host of the Let's Talk About It on this podcast.
Token all day.
And you should lean in because Phil holds it over his face. Just put it in between the middle of you, Phil.
Okay.
We're creeping on Phil's new girl's pictures here.
Oh, God. Are you guys just going to look at his phone the whole time?
Pretty much.
Ugh. Phil, put it away.
She's got like a snake bite?
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's the chick you met her at Jai Tai one night. You were like, I like your snake bite.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that chick.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
all right.
sorry.
You guys done?
Yeah.
All right.
We're just going to make out over here.
Yeah. And we have a pizza en route, and our guest, yeah, we do. We ordered pizza, so we'll pause it in between here. Our guest today he'll just be referred to as Mr. X because our guest today is actually what?
What's our guest name again?
Mr.
What?
What?
Huh?
I mean, we can say like Mr. P or what?
Master P?
Mr. R.
Mr. I think you said Mr. X.
Stream.
I was trying to stop that joke for everybody. All right. But our host, or I mean our guest, we're referring to as Mr. X
Stream.
through the whole. Oh, God. You can't do that through the whole podcast. Mr. X.
Treeb.
All right, we're going to just call him Bob.
No, Mr. X is fine.
No.
Stream.
Just going nowhere.
Yeah. He's just
Okay,
going to leave.
what's up? Here.
All right.
Who's our
No,
X?
well,
Who's our
shut
Mr.
the
X?
fuck up with your
Tell me all about it.
extreme. But this gentleman is our guest today is actually in the witness protection program. So,
man.
so that's why we won't be saying his name on the podcast, and we're going to talk about why he's in the witness protection program.
We should
So-
talk about it, too.
I'm pretty sure you can
You try not to laugh.
talk about anything he wants.
Yeah. Now, you want to say hi?
Hi,
All right. And obviously, his voice is going to be or is altered when you're hearing this.
I'd fuck me.
That's going to be really, really low. All right, now, Jesus, where do we start? What?
Start where the part where laws got broken. That's
Dude, so that happened way back. So that's even. So I guess where it all starts from is I used to sell weed. That's where it all started from, and God, how do I even start all this?
Okay. When did you start selling weed in school?
Well, no, I started selling when I was 20, and I went over to this dude's house that I used to we'd all get our weed from, and he was fighting with his girlfriend, and he was just this little, weasel-looking dude. And so he goes upstairs to fight with his girlfriend, he left a pound of weed out, and so we grabbed a half of it.
Who's we? You?
Me and my buddy.
Okay, and all this stuff is allegedly.
No, this really happened. And, but yeah. And so he went upstairs, we grabbed a half pound of it, and then left, and then that's how I started selling. So at that point,
fucking boss.
Say grabbed, you mean stole.
stole it. Yeah, straight took it. Yeah. But this guy was such a, he was
That's
a
nice
fucking.
if you only take half.
Yeah, because we didn't want to take all of it, because I didn't want to fuck him, but I did want to, I had to get started. So we took that, and then
Very noble of you, sir.
yeah, right. and so from then, it just that's when everything kind of
Can
started.
I ask how much is a half pound at this time? Right now, that's only worth like maybe $1,200.
Yeah, and back, I used to here I'd get them for about 26, and in LA I'd sell them for 38.
Jesus.
Something like that. Depending on if if it's really good, you get away with 42.
For a half?
No, for a full pound. Yeah,
42.
Yeah, 100.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like $42. I don't know.
So from really I guess the exciting stories. Let me get to those. So, God, which one? There's so many.
All of them.
All right, so there's this one dude, and this will all lead up to how the whole witness protection thing happens. So, I had this guy. I'll just give you a bunch of stories and we can just put them all together. So there was this one dude. I won't mention the hotel, but there was a hotel in a major city that this kid worked, and it was really weird. So the way it worked is I would hook up this one dude who lived on an island away from the city, and then he was like 45 years old. He's this black dude from DC, and then
Matter that he's black.
it kind of does, dude, because it kind of tells you where it was a really weird thing.
Must be going down a really bad path.
No, yeah.
Involves a black guy.
Because what he'd do is he'd prey on these little kids, you know, like these young 19, 18-year-olds, and they would all live in this house together on the island. And he was the CEO of his house.
All right.
And then he had all these people that lived with him that were president, VP, you know, sergeant at arms, treasurer, all this shit. And they were all like these young kids, and they all had jobs, and so they'd all work these jobs, and they'd go back with their paychecks, and all the paychecks would go into this one dude's account, and then he would pay them. So they'd
Is
go
that how
work.
you do it, Tyler?
It was really weird, dude. So anyway, so
Okay.
so I go, so I'm hooking this dude up, and I'm giving it to one of his kids. I think it was the vice president. I'd give this weed to this kid, and then he'd take it over to the island. And so one point I didn't have any weed to give this guy, and he owed me for 2 pounds. And so I said, you know, I need to come grab that money. He said, well, since you didn't have any weed, I used that money to go get more weed. And I said, well, dude, how are you going to use my weed? Like, I'm buying you weed now? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So we go around on the phone, and then, you know, and I'm like only 23 or 4 at the time, you know, and I'm dealing with a guy 20 years older than me. And so it was, oh shit. And so he ends up telling me, he's like, well, how about this? I got a fix for it. How about this? How about you go fuck yourself? And you know, I won't give you any of the fucking money and deal with that. So I was like, oh shit, are you sure? And he said, yeah, so cool. So we went and scouted out this hotel downtown in the city where this kid worked at the hotel where I'd always hook him up. And there was about 10 of us, and we were all at different ends of this hotel. And then we had a couple people down. God, I'm almost giving up where this is anyways. So we had all these people, and, you know, cell phones were brand new. So we all, you know, we were walkie-talking to each other, and it was like this big deal. So anyway, so we're watching, and finally we look through the window, and this dude's walking back and forth, and we see him take his apron off, and he was a server at this restaurant, this hotel. And one of the guys with me used to work at this hotel and knew all the ways to get through it, through all the little rat holes down in the bottom. So when we see him take his thing off, we're like, okay, well, he's off work. He's going to go down and take his shit off in the locker room. So 3 of us go down to the into the hotel, and everybody else stays outside. And we go down the hotel, go down all the little corridors, and get into the locker room, and that kid's by himself in that place. It's just us. So we walk in there, dude. Scares the fuck out of me. You know, he turns white. He's tripping out, and he kind of just sits there, though. He's not like screaming and yelling, trying to get away. He's just kind of scared like a deer and sitting there. And so I get on the phone and I call this guy up, and 2 of my dudes are holding him on the, you know, got their hands on his shoulders and holding him on the thing. So I called the dude up, and I was like, I got your boy. And he said, what do you mean? God. I said, I got your boy. And I put him on the phone, and he's like, dude, they're down here. Look, you got to do something, whatever. So he gives me the phone back, and I said, so how do you want to handle this? And he says, do what you got to do. I said, for real? Like,
Yeah.
You're just going to let this guy take a licking for your shit? I mean, we're talking, you know, $8,000 worth of shit, yeah.
Licking or killing?
So he says...
He only licks someone for $8,000.
Oh, okay.
So he says, do what you got to do. So, cool. So we beat the shit out of him in the locker room. And
Oh my God!
for a while. And
Jesus Christ.
That's crazy.
You sound like that when you're beating.
So
Oh my God.
it was probably in like a minute or so.
Now,
and
when you're beating him, fists, bats, what?
fists,
just-
feet, slamming his head into the bench. You know, he was sitting on the locker room.
Phil's face.
And so
Like a fucking movie, man, but this shit's real.
so
Oh my God.
so then meanwhile, while we're doing this, well, actually I won't give you the meanwhile yet. So then we put him there's like a service elevator in the very back that nobody uses, and so we put him in that. and then we all start going up because we were going to take him with us. And so when we go up, he had his back to the buttons, dude, and he hit that kitchen button apparently. So the door's open and he flies out, and then he takes all the carts. There's like a room service cart, and he's throwing those things behind him, and he's running through it. So we're like, fuck, we got to get out of here because there's everybody's in the kitchen. I mean, it's packed full of people.
And this guy's just bloody and
he's fucked up, dude. Yeah, he's just this little skinny kid, but he's just a small little skinny kid, and it sucks for him. But at the same time, dude, it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So
apparently not fuck with your money, Jesus.
So we run outside through this other sideway, and then we go out front and we go right across the street to this corner, which is across the street from the hotel, and just slightly up the street on the sidewalk. So there's like 6 of us there, and then the other dudes are down at the ferry terminals. And sure as shit, dude, 100 fucking cop cars come flying down the street and nosediving into this hotel every day, and it's a one-way. So they're just like coming and we see them coming out with shotguns and shit.
Jesus Christ.
Right? And apparently what had happened is when I had talked to the dude, I hung up, and he said we were holding the kid hostage with guns downstairs, and he called the cops on us, and so all the cops showed up. So, dude, we thought it was funny as fuck. Like, we were like, we got away with some shit here, and, and it was, and we kind of watched, because people were kind of coming around. It was late at night, people were coming around watching, so we just kind of looked like we were watching too. So then we go home, and everything's cool, we're smoking, having a good time, whatever. The next day, Sunday comes the next day, and I get a phone call, and it's the city that we were in. Their assault homicide detective was calling, and so, which was fucking scary because assault's one thing and homicide's another.
Yeah, you guys.
So,
Okay, when the guy says this is so and so with assault and homicide department.
Yeah.
Now, when you heard that, were you like, did this fucking kid die?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it flashed in my head, but then you go through, like he was running and he was bleeding and he was well enough he wasn't, unconscious or anything. So you figure everything's good. Yeah.
Yeah, just some broken face.
Did you just want to destroy something beautiful?
All right.
I've never been the ass end of one of his.
Yeah.
That is awkward. So anyway, so they said we had to come down, and one of the guys that was with me was my roommate. So we had to go down to the cop shop. So we go down to the cop shop, and
you remember you telling me this, and this is genius.
Yeah. So on our way there, came up with this idea just to to save everything. So the idea was to tell the truth about everything that had happened, but change anytime you wanted to say the word weed to snowboard. And so because we knew they were going to split us up and talk to us. I mean, that's obviously how they're going to work it. So we get down there, sure shit, they separate us into different rooms, and they're asking us all these questions. And my buddy and I had the exact same story. I mean, it was he owed me money. I gave his buddy a snowboard. He never paid me. I went down to get it. He told me to go fuck myself. So we beat the shit up. He said, and so after it was all done, the cop comes back and he's like, hey, look, this is 1980. You can't go around doing that shit. He's like, but I get it, and he had talked to these other people too. So he saw what they were about, and we were much more, white and clean.
Yeah.
And they were not.
Thank God.
Yeah, you weren't that black.
He was the only dude. No, but so anyways, so we said all that shit, that it was snowboards, and he let us go, and that was that. Never had any repercussions. The other dudes, on the other hand, got in a whole bunch of trouble because of how he was doing some kind of illegal bullshit out of his house, and he brought a big spotlight on him, and I never really kept up with all that, but the detective said that something, happened with them, and so they ended up getting dealt with. I never got my money. It was a loss, but that when you go, usually,
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. I have no idea. Never saw any of them again.
What's crazy is you never nothing about doctor bills or nothing.
No, because that's the thing, dude. That's a good point, actually. Most of these people in this world live in this world of Walmarts and all this regular shit. And dude, there's a whole I don't even want to call it underground. There's all these different layers of world that people see and are, and live. And in that world, the cops don't exist. It's not part of the equation, because they're who everybody stays away from. It's not something you go to help you do anything, because they never help you.
Yeah.
Ever. So that was that one. And then actually there was a big, I tried to look for it, but there was a big piece written on it in the newspaper, in a side column where, and they really hyped it up too. Most of it was really overblown. Didn't happen, but it made it sound super cool.
I'm kind of curious why you didn't try to find the guy himself and beat him up.
Well, like I said, he was over on an island, and after this thing happened, you don't usually want to keep rocking the boat, so if it works itself out, it works itself out. But, we all kind of felt like, yeah, we kind of, and, especially at that level, I mean, I was turning 5 and 10 packs, every week.
Why wouldn't you tell the kid, just to think about it in retrospect, why didn't you try to make the kid set up a meeting with the guy? And because
the guy told me fuck off for $8,000, so that tells you where his head is. If he told me to fuck off for $100,
yeah, but that kid talked to him regularly though, right?
He lived with him.
There you go. So hey,
but that other dude owned him though. Like I said, dude, it was a CEO of 45 years old, CEO quote, and then everybody underneath him. So there was like a, the fear of God was in all those kids.
Either way, okay, hey, I'm coming, just be with him and, make it seem like he's just coming back on the island by himself.
Yeah,
infiltrate it.
That would have been cool, actually. That would have been nice, yeah. That's actually a good thought.
Yeah.
Which leads me to another one, actually.
Well, Phil does have a criminal mind. He does steal from Walmart.
So,
Walmart? Is that what
yes, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I have to go to the witness protection program, but
It's a huge dildo.
yeah.
Nobody's going to pick that up, Tyler, because you're not talking in the mic.
I'm talking into it.
You're too far away, and
They
you
hear
speak
me.
like a woman. All right. Anyways, let's hear the rest of this. Mr. X.
So you thought
so let's see.
something else?
So then, so like I was saying before, I used to, this will be like 3 stories wrapped into
No,
one.
it's
This
dude,
would be
and
pretty cool.
the crazier the better.
Yeah, so I used to work down in LA. I lived I would do work down there, and it was a really cool setup because my guy who I got my weed from lived in LA and here. So I wouldn't ever have to drive it. I'd never have to get sneaky. I'd never have to do anything. I'd just fly down on a $250 ticket, grab up a 10-pack, and then go sell it, make my money, hang out in LA, and come home.
When you'd say, because I know you guys probably know, I don't, and anybody listening, I don't know if they'll know. When you say how much? When you said like a 5 or 10 pack, is that what you're saying?
Those are pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 or 10 pounds, and then what is? And you said you were turning those a week.
Yeah.
And what is that? What was that money wise back then?
Thousands.
Like, give me what were you?
Well,
what was a good week and a bad week?
I'd make $1,000 a pound.
Okay.
So
You were making 5 to 10 grand a week.
yeah.
Oh my
Ish.
god.
It would
Right.
depend.
Yes.
But I mean, dude, let's not say every week though,
Right.
because that doesn't make sense. But yeah, more often than not, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But in that life, dude, you you waste that money away, like it's because
All right.
money, it just becomes this thing that you trade for something else at that point. It's not
Like
there's
major
no
sex.
there's no value to money at that point.
Like what, Phil?
Major sex.
Yeah, if you hire hookers.
Yeah. Or you just pay for all these women's drinks and blow, and then they blow. Yes.
How's your girlfriend?
Yeah, we're in a different conversation right now.
I just totally killed your vibe. Look at your face. You hate it. How would your girlfriend approve of you talking like that?
I don't hate it. I just hate you, Jim.
Yeah. It's very disrespectful to women. Do you think Samantha would like that?
Jesus.
You're not gonna get your dick in that snake bite.
Oh my
I
god.
love it.
All right.
I can't handle this anymore.
All right.
I have to go.
All right. So this.
I'm the only co-host.
All right. So you were going down to L.A.
Yeah. So in this
and did you say you'd pick up 5 and 10 and drive back or fly back?
No, I would be here, and I had God, you know what? And I'm not going to, but if I could tell you the 2 people that I dealt with down there, They're huge.
Like when you,
it bothers me.
actors
I'd love to.
or
One of them is
It's like George Young.
he's a manager for one of the biggest bands in the world right now.
wow. All right.
He wasn't at the time. They were really a small band.
Ryan Lewis.
Yeah. Oh shit.
What?
What? But anyway, so here's what. So I would fly down to L.A. from. So like I talked to him from. Oh my God, we have to bleep some of the shit I just said
Wait, why?
because I said the city. Anyway, it doesn't
LA.
matter. Fuck it.
You've said it like 5 times.
Yeah, I know. So anyways, so I'd come from.
Jesus.
I'd
I'm
come,
sitting here going, you keep saying it.
Jesus Christ. So I'd go from this one city down to another city.
Well, you've also been saying, so I would go to LA, but I live. You've said that like multiple times too.
Yeah.
You're being.
All right.
Whatever. So it doesn't really fucking matter, to be honest with you. So
By the end of this, you're giving out your social security number.
Do you have like a U.S. Marshal or anything like that you are in contact with? Really?
not a marshal, but
But somebody.
another agency.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Man, that's so dope.
Jesus, Phil. Well, you steal enough pens at Walmart. Maybe you can get there one day.
I just have to watch somebody do it.
So anyway, so so when I had work down there, then I'd fly from where I was down to LA and then meet up with my guy, grab, the weed, and then I'd stay in a hotel, do my business, and then hang out for a little bit, and then sell it, be done with it, and then leave, come back. So this one, I hate this story, dude, because I fucked up, and it was a big turning point for me. This is kind of where everything started crashing down. So I went down and I got 10 pounds and I was at my hotel. Dude, this is so fucked up. And so I had this guy that I was working with who, I do legit stuff with, like on the up and up, and I'd worked with him for a couple of years, and, so I had a trust thing with him. Well, so it wasn't unheard of for me to front him for a second the weed, and then he brings me the money. And dude, in the weed world, everything's on the front at that level. Everything has to
Tyler.
move
Yeah.
out. And
I know, I'm aware.
yeah, and on the front for a minute, not. You don't let somebody just walk away for days on end and not pay. Usually there's some kind of a weird swap though. So anyways, I go down and my guy comes and everything's cool. We're hanging out, smoking a little bit, and he checks everything out and he's good, and he takes the 10-pack and leaves, and totally normal. Well, now he's not calling me back, and he's not coming when he's supposed to. He's not calling me back when I'm calling him, and I'm starting to trip because things that were happening at that time. It took this weird turn where it was a lot of fun and we were all young and it was kids, selling weed to each other. And then as we got a little older and, and doing the things you do as you're older, well, then it turned into a big jack game where everybody tried to jack you. And so there was a lot of people getting jacked. There was a lot of weed missing, and, and really a lot of that shit comes from, a few people up top,
Okay.
especially when you're in this little clique. So I go down there and all this shit's running through my head, dude, and he's not showing up. So finally, I'm dealing with my guy too, also the guy who fronted to me, and he's tripping out. And so he comes over and to the hotel, and we're, talking about it, shit, trying to figure out what to do. And finally the dude calls and he brings 9 back. He actually comes back. I'm kind of cutting some of the bullshit out, but he brings 9 pounds back and money for 8 pounds. So I'm like pissed at him because he didn't call. He didn't tell me what was up.
And you're freaking
He made
out.
us all trip.
Yeah, and you were stressing.
On top of that, he comes back with money for £1 pound. Like, that's not how we do business, dude. I flew down there for a reason. You said you needed this. You said you're going to do it, and you didn't do it, and plus all the other shit. So he's like, dude, I'm fucking sorry. And my guy with me, my dude I dealt with, he's like, you need to handle this shit tomorrow to the kid, and
So
kind of
just so
put
I'm
that
clear,
fear
I'm making
into
sure
him.
I'm following. You had fronted him 10 pounds, and basically just was taking forever, not getting back to you, or not taking forever. He just wasn't getting back to you.
Yeah.
Then when he finally did, you're back where you started. But I mean, it's 9 pounds, and then what the cost of 1 pound was.
Right.
So it's the same value, but your biggest thing is like you wasted all this time. You didn't sell any of this shit.
Right.
Sounds like it was about time to talk to him in the locker room.
Yeah. He got
And then the guy above you, or your partner, I should say, at the time was like, okay, said to that guy, you need to handle this shit by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I just also want to make this real clear that this was 15 years ago.
Okay.
So there's no statutes or any shit for anything I'm saying.
Okay.
You know what I mean? This is a long fucking time ago.
There's no statute of limitation for murder.
There's no murder.
Allegedly.
So
So when did you start the murdering?
So when does the murder start?
we're getting to it. So
Interrupting, it'll start with that.
hold on, let me get my coffee.
All right.
All right, so then okay, so the next day the kid comes back and it's just me, and so I said, okay, look, here's how we're gonna work this. So you can take 5 of these and I'll keep 5 of them. And then because he had this thing he was getting done. Let's see, how did that, I'm trying to think. Was it the 5 he took? He took 5, and then I left the hotel because I was staying in a hotel. It was $300 a night because I figured it was gonna be a good time again, and so I like to stay nice. But so I left the hotel, left all my shit in the hotel, and I had a bag with me with 5 pounds, a duffel bag with 5 pounds that I'm now walking through LA with.
Oh my
right?
God.
So I'm down in
Said the city again.
dude, and I'm on the Santa Monica Pier, and I go grab a drink, and I've got the duffel bag sitting on the ground and my foot through the strap,
Okay.
so nobody can jack it. And I see these 2 dudes, they're looking at me from 10 feet away, and dude, I knew they knew I had weed in that bag. Like
White guys?
No. But I knew they knew I had fucking weed. Just the way they're that part didn't matter. But they were just eyeballing me like, hey, what's up, man? You know? So I got all nervous, dude. So anyway, so I left there. Well, what happened is holy shit. I just remembered I just fucked something up big. I fucked that up. It's been a long time, so I haven't talked about this forever. I fucked it up. What happened is he wasn't ever getting back to me, and I found out where his grandma's house was, and I went to his grandma's house. I forgot.
Okay.
That's what happened. I'm at his grandma's house.
Where's my weed money, Grandma?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I've been trying to get a hold of dude, and I'm in East LA, by the way.
Oh, so he's Mexican.
Yeah. So funny stereotypes.
Yeah,
They're
but
so
it's true, right?
Yeah. So we're in there, dude, and I'm paging him left and fucking right,
God, and was it a true pager?
Oh yeah, paging it, pager.
Great.
So I'm standing there. Okay, so then he comes back, and his grandma had to get on the phone and say, dude, you need to get back here because I got some stranger in my house right now,
Holy fuck.
And back in the day, dude, I was rocking, fucking diamond rings and watches and,
Yes.
baller. Yeah, it was the baller shit, right?
Pinky
fucking
rings.
Stupid.
Have
Yeah.
like a mullet too.
We got no mullet, dope hair, but I had we'd go to like the pawn shops or whatever and go find people's big diamond rings and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And rock them just fucking dumb. So I'm at his grandma's house, and then so he tells his grandma he's coming back. So he does come back. He comes to the grandma's house, and I'm sitting there. They come back and he brings all the weed, and then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm calling a taxi and I'm gonna get back to my hotel. So this is before we'd all met up again. So he's like, dude, it's cool, bro. We can take you back. And they had all my weed in their trunk. So I go look in the trunk and there's 9 pounds, and then he gives me money. He's like, dude, we can take you back. I'm like, nah, dude, it's cool. Because the second he said that, dude, I felt inside my core that was the end.
Right.
That would have been it for me.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, I'm cool. So I grabbed my shit, and thank God Grandma was there, right? Because it kind of kept it all balanced. And a cab came, I threw the shit in the back, and we left. Then he comes to my hotel the next day, and my guy comes back. I'm gonna say his name the next day. And my guy I was dealing with, and so we're in the hotel room, and he's scolding this kid, and I'm scolding this kid, and he says that he's gonna go get rid of this other shit. So then that whole Santa Monica thing happens. I got the blah blah. So he ends up not calling me again and not hooking up with me again, and he ends up saying that he gets pulled over on going to Santa Barbara or some shit with these guys. They put a gun to the back of his head, told him to get out of the car, and he's been walking for hours, and he didn't have a way to get a hold of me. So I lost all that weed.
So did you believe him? Yeah.
No, not at all. At all. So I go back home, and what I'm having trouble because, again, it was so long ago, but I ended up losing all 10 pounds. Except, 9 pounds in the month,
right.
you know. So, and I can't remember how that happened. But anyways, the good part of the story is this, is that I came back up home, and I had this dude calling me, and I knew him just from what I'd heard, kind of like folklore almost. This guy was so up there and out.
Oh, shit. It's like Kaiser Sose.
Yeah, that kind of shit. Even his name, dude, was fucking scary.
What was it? I'm joking.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'll tell you the rest of the shit. Something. Yeah, I'll tell you some.
Wait, hold on. Let me pause. Hold on. Let me make sure it's pauses.
What?
Okay, it's back recording. Holy shit! Sorry.
So,
Fuck. We just sorry. I can't say what, but we were just told we were told the name and then something else pretty fucking. All right, sorry.
So then this guy's calling me. He's, not, I was gonna say basically told me, not basically shit. He said that he was looking for me, and that the end of this deal was gonna be
Kaiser
me.
Sosa, dude.
Yeah, was gonna be me naked behind a truck getting drugged through the streets.
Oh, fuck.
So I called up my pops, and that's going to be awesome on
Jesus.
microphone. What a dick.
It was popcorn, because this is a fucking great story.
Nice.
I love that you needed a visual. You couldn't just say I could use some popcorn right now.
So actually, again, I lied. I did not come back home yet. I was at the Los Angeles airport, and I called my father, and I was telling my dad, hey, I need... Oh, before I called him, I called another dude. I was like, hey, man, I need 40 grand because I'm in a heap of shit right now. And I got to get... And this guy had a fucking ton of money, and he was flying down to L.A. for
Kaiser?
some business. No, this is one of my buddies.
All right.
A friend of mine who wasn't in that
Okay, back up
business.
real quick. We just keep calling him Kaiser Sose because that's the best reference. So the bigwig dude, the Kaiser Sose guy that called you, and did he say he wanted 40 grand or?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so wait. So
he said, "I want my motherfucking money, man." I'm
so
like, "Oh
so he's
shit!"
an English guy. Now, okay, but why 40 grand? Wasn't it 10 grand that you or?
No, I had 10 pounds.
Right,
Or
so
10
it's $4 grand a pound.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now it makes sense. All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why. And he was saying if you don't give me my 40 grand, you're going to be naked, dragged through the streets on the back of a truck.
Yeah, it wasn't if that. He was looking for me, and that was it.
Okay. All right, got you. Okay, so now you're at the airport. You called your
Yeah,
pops.
so I called, and first I had called my other buddy, and he couldn't do it because he was under federal watch, so they were watching all of his money.
Jesus Christ.
So he couldn't give me anything, and he felt like shit. So I called my dad, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of fucked right now. I need 40 grand. And he's like, what do you need 40?
Hold on. I got to pause it. I know everybody's going to get pissed. Pizza. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. That was my fault. We had the pizza. I'm fat, so I had to get it. All right, so you called your dad.
As Phil's
Yeah,
munching
so
on popcorn right here.
What?
And Phil's munching on popcorn right
Yeah.
now.
Jesus, he snapped at you.
I snapped. Yeah, you guys got to hold that between you two.
All right, so Daddy's going to try to save you here.
Yeah, so I'm at LAX, allegedly at LAX, and I was sitting outside having a smoke, called my dad. First I called my buddy. He couldn't do it. Called my dad. So my dad decides when that he's going to call. He worked at this big corporation, and
Oh, Kaiser.
he couldn't know. Yeah, right.
Nice.
Fuck. He fixed it all. So he called like the head of security that he's friends with at this big corporate place he worked at to kind of figure out, because they were all scared, dude. My parents don't come from that life, so they don't.
When you called your pops, you told them that you need 40 grand.
Yeah, and at this point, they had no idea I was selling
That's
weed.
what I was going to ask you. So they don't. Did you tell them why at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like,
I just told them all of it. Yeah, I told them what happened.
because you're like,
dude,
fuck it, I might
I
die.
don't give a shit. Yeah, I mean, it's,
How'd they take that?
really well, dude. My dad was super cool.
It's like, can I get a 10 sack?
Yeah, nobody's getting on my case about anything because obviously at that moment it wasn't.
Yeah, it's survival.
Do you see what's going on over here between these two?
This is what happens when you make a share mic.
And you know what's weird is neither of them are pulling away like it's weird.
Yeah,
they're
so
both just kind
Tyler-
of there.
Weird.
Tyler and Phil are sharing a mic. Tyler's hand is holding the mic with his fingers interlaced with Phil's over the mic and his hand. And they're.
You should take
gross.
a picture of that for your fucking
Actually, I will. Hold
profile
on.
page.
This is the title of the podcast right
Yeah, wait a
Two
minute.
androgynous motherfuckers.
No,
You should go wide though for the site.
yeah. All right. Hold on.
Go white.
You ready?
Oh God.
Good God Almighty.
God, we'd
It just feels right.
we'd be such good facts.
Okay, so
All right.
Oh wait, was that on the? Oh,
Totally on the mic.
I'll put it up.
can you cut?
so
that
where
out?
can they see that picture somewhere?
Yeah. So I'll put that picture up.
Wait,
I don't
I just
mind.
said something I don't think I want on the podcast.
Well, oh, but you'd be such great.
Yeah, I didn't.
F
mean,
words.
I didn't
It's
mean
going. It's staying.
to fuck. Okay.
No, that's not the F word you used.
You said
All
a
right.
bad one.
So I'm gonna post this
Can
picture.
they refer to themselves as that?
Yeah, but you're not
Who's
one.
they?
People.
Who's they?
Gay people.
Whoa,
Refer to
dude.
themselves as what?
You know,
What? No.
as that thing that I
I'm
said.
so confused. What's he talking about now?
I don't know.
He's saying he could say that word because he.
What word?
I don't even understand.
Faggot.
Oh, see, Tyler doesn't care. He's like this one right here.
I feel like I could say it because I've been called it enough. by my parents, so,
Or your boyfriend.
or my boyfriend.
All right.
up?
All right. So.
While we're fucking.
All right. We'll pick up. So you called your dad. He calls the security guy.
Yeah, he calls security guys. Security guys tell him drug dealers won't do anything when they lose money. They just try to scare you, so don't pay him a cent. And I'm like, Dad, you're getting wrong information. That's not how it works at all. Let me tell you some stories,
Let me tell you,
dude.
kid, about this fucking hotel room.
Yeah.
Fuck. So, I just bought a ticket and went straight to Portland. And so I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out in Portland now, and I go back up to where I was living, and because that dude was calling me.
Kaiser
saying-
Sosa?
Yeah, saying he was gonna do his shit. So, grabbed a.
Where's that guy's located?
He's where I lived.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I ended up putting all my shit as quick as I could into this U-Haul to get it out of there. And meanwhile, Kaiser Sosa's calling me 5-6 times as we're like, yeah, dude, everything's cool, man. I'm handling it. Meanwhile, I'm like packing shit up and getting the fuck out.
Now the people saying everything's cool, I'm handling it. Those are your people.
I'm telling him,
Oh.
dude, I'm getting this shit taken care of.
Because you
So
weren't you weren't being given money then. You weren't being- yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to get the fuck out of there, dude, because
Well, no
I
kidding.
knew where shit was going, right?
Yeah.
So I blast out. I get down to Portland, and now I'm staying at my folks' house, dude, and I'm dealing with this shit on the phone. So they're hearing a whole other side of me that they've
Jesus.
never heard before. And I would tell them, I'd be like, and you gotta understand, dude, I'm fucking messed up physically now. Like, this is taking a fucking toll on me. So I'm fully just kind of fucked in my head at this point. Because I realized the severity of what happened is that because that happened, I'm now having to uproot my life, my business,
And
everything
your
I'm doing.
family's involved.
Yeah, friends, all that shit, and I had to take off. So now,
Sorry, I'm just laughing because like if it happened now, you could do like a Kickstarter.
yeah, really, totally.
From dying Kickstarter.
So so now, I tell my folks, like, look, I'm gonna go in the other room, and you're gonna probably hear some shit that you've never heard before, because I got to deal with this. And so I'm in the other room, and talking like I had to talk about all this stuff. And I'm getting the kid on the phone, and he's telling me that he's sticking to his story, and that he got thrown out of the car on the way to Santa Barbara. So now I got my other guy that I've dealt with, not Soze, but my guy got the shit from. We're on three-ways on the phone, and he's fucking gangster, dude. This other dude. So he's
your partner.
Yeah, he's talking mad shit to this dude. So the dude gives up the name of the guy who took the shit, and so I get on, and my mother.
You never really said how you lost the 9
get
pounds.
on. I can't exactly remember because I had given him the weed to go handle, and the next day I got most of it back, but I had to get rid of it, and he said he was getting it taken care of, and we kind of put that whole fear into him that he needs to handle it, so we figured everything was good. Then he left again and didn't give my weed back, so I can't remember exactly how all that shit transpired, but at the end of it, he had jacked me for 9 pounds.
Jesus.
And I was on the hook for it.
Nothing happened when you were sitting at that restaurant with the bag around your foot?
No, that was just weird that I was sitting on an 85-degree day in Santa Monica.
You said you'd take the 5 pounds, right?
Yeah, but then
So
there was
what
the
happened
next
to 5
day.
pounds?
There was the next day that I don't remember. See, that's the part I don't exactly remember is how he got. I remember I gave him the 5 the next day to go handle, and I don't remember how he got the other 4. To get, but at the end of it, I had lost 9 plus my money. I don't remember all the specifics of how that happened exactly.
So you're on the 3-way call.
Because again, dude, this is fucking forever ago. So I'm on the phone.
Yeah, really? Do you want to keep fucking upsetting them?
Yeah. So I mean, why'd you get yourself in such a stupid situation?
What a dick!
You're a really bad drug dealer.
I know. And we say that to this day. Some of my friends that I saw, they're like, dude, you were the worst drug dealer ever. I was good for a while. So then we found out where this dude was, and my mom had gotten online and her little private investigator shit. She was figuring out who the dude was. I mean, it was weird, dude. Wow. So she gave me this phone number of who she thought it was, who she'd found and shit. So we had called up, and I think I had talked to his sister or something. I gave the number over to my guy. I don't remember how all that shit necessarily happened, but I can tell you that they ended up scouting that dude out down in L.A. and found him, and then took and handled him.
So the guy.
So basically,
look at Phil.
Say the last part again.
And then they handled that one dude.
Before that, what? Right before that.
When we got the number and found out where he was, we talked to his...
Because your mom looked up that shit.
Yeah.
Wait, and this is the Kaiser Sose dude?
No, this is the guy who jacked my guy.
That lost the 9 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they were all in it together. I mean, it was obviously, so nobody ever got, pushed out of a car on Santa Barbara and had to walk and all this shit.
Wait, when you say everybody was in it together, do you mean the guy that lost the 9 pounds and the Kaiser Sose dude?
No, those two guys are separate.
Okay.
Kaiser Sose is with me.
Sure.
Kaiser Sose is with me. He's my guy. Kaiser Sose is the boss of the boss of the boss of the boss.
I thought, okay.
Then I have a guy who goes with me, who's down in L.A., and we'll call him Rick.
Okay, yeah.
So Rick is the one I meet up with who gives me
Rick's
weed.
your guy, yeah.
And then I sold it to a guy named John.
Yeah, okay.
And John jacked me.
Gotcha.
And then John was with some dude named Andrew.
Gotcha.
And John and Andrew apparently,
they're in cahoots.
Yeah, when they were saying they weren't. So
and John got dealt with.
Yeah, Andrew got dealt with.
Or Andrew got dealt with.
Yeah.
John and Andrew got dealt with.
Holy shit! You know what was crazy too though is when I was over at the grandma's house, the following day after everything had happened, I'd gone back over to that dude's house again for a second time, and was telling him, like, dude, this is no joke. Like, they're gonna fuck you up for taking this shit. I didn't take it. He's telling me how he got jacked and all that shit. He's crying. He's, and he's a tough kid, dude, and he's like bawling his eyes out and shit. As we're standing there, dude, in East LA, this RX-7, it's like way down the street. He pulls up behind this car, this dude that's in a car. And this has nothing to do with this. We're just standing here talking about out front. We look up and this car pulls up and he gets, the guy who pulls up behind a car, he gets out of his car. He walks up to the dude in the car in front of him, pulls out a gun and slugs him 5 times, 6 times with the fucking gun, gets back into his car and starts coming down the street at us. And so we fucking were climbing over the car, over the fucking back.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. I had no idea what the fuck. You have to understand, dude. Again, this all started with a bunch of kids who smoked weed, wanting to have fun with their people and make a little money on the
Tyler.
side. And
I feel like you brought me here for a reason.
all
This is an intervention.
yeah, dude, and it turned into this whole fucking thing, dude. It got way too real.
Now, and you said the guy got dealt with.
Yeah, and then he got dealt with.
So, you like went to his grandma's house?
I didn't do shit, and I don't know what happened to him.
Really?
I just know that
He's not in the weed game anymore.
he's not in the weed game anymore. Nope.
Interesting.
Fair enough.
So
It's not in the game.
You got benched.
yeah,
You got
his
registered.
days are over.
Got cut.
He's retired.
Yeah, dude. So okay, so from there,
So now, are they cool with you or like?
I don't. Oh, so then.
So did he find out? Did Kaiser Sose find out that guy was kind of the culprit, the guy that got dealt with?
Probably.
The culprit of why you got all fucked.
Probably.
Over? And so
But
now,
is Kaiser still?
were you given
Never
amnesty?
talked to him again.
So you got amnesty from that, basically.
I don't know about amnesty,
Or is it just?
but it's just been dealt with, and
They weren't trying to clean house.
yeah. And my guy, who I would go meet in L.A.
Rick.
He's been, I'm sure he's in the pen right now. Even, I mean, he was in and out for a while for getting swept up for different things. So
Now, when all this shit went down, dude, and that's kind of crazy because even though whatever that one fuck Andrew will say
Yeah.
dealt with, that it's not like that happens and then for you, you're like, okay, cool, this is over.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
So I ended up staying in Portland for a long time, for 6 months, but I wanted to come back. It was just, to get away for a while. So I would come up and visit on the weekends and hang out with my buddies. And one weekend I come up and we go to this, we eat a bunch of mushrooms and there's 3 of us, me, one of my buddies, we'll call him Z.
Okay, Mr. Z.
Yeah, Mr. Z, and another guy we'll call J. Mr. J.
What? All right.
Just fits because I can remember that way. So,
Don't worry about us.
I wonder what they're talking about. We'll hear it on the podcast. So I go, so I come up here and we go to some club. I can't remember what it's, the T-Lose or some shit. And we're eating a bunch of, we ate a bunch of mushrooms and, we're having a good time. So then me and Z decided to take off to go back to his house for me to go grab some weed. And then we're going to do whatever, probably go back or whatever. That never happened though. So I had my car and Z had his car. And so we both leave and I'm following him. And so he's going towards his house. And then I decided, I'm going to stop and get chocolate milk and donuts. And I call him, I'm like, hey, dude, do you want me to grab some food? He's like, yeah, fuck, do it. So I pull over and he keeps going to his house. I go grab chocolate milk and donuts. Get back in the car, go to his house, which is like 4 blocks away from the store. And as I round the corner, I see 5 of these old fucking cars nosedived into his house. And I knew he had a Mercedes and a Volvo, and we didn't know anybody that had these shitty cars. So, it was kind of a weird thing. So I go by kind of slow and I look over and I see necklaces with shiny gold on them. I'm like, yeah, fuck. So I keep going down the street and then I flip a Yui and I come back and I look over and yeah, dude, those are obviously cops. He obviously just got totally raided. So I
It's knowing you, buddy.
go, yeah. So I go, and this is one of my best friends for a decade.
Beep, beep.
Yeah.
Drive.
So I go down the street and I call up.
Take some donuts. All right.
So I call.
Probably smelled what you were getting, and they all need to show up.
Both of you guys just turned the mic off.
So I go to Just make sure I didn't have an on-off switch. So I go over to, I go down the street and I call up Mr. J, and I was like, fuck, dude, I think Z's getting hemmed up right now. And he was at the club still, so he's like, all right, I'm on my way. So he comes down and meets me at my car, and then we get in my car and we drive back over to Z's place. Well, when we get back over there, there's no cars anymore, including Z's and his girls. There's no cars at all.
Okay.
So we go up and we knock on the door, and then all these cops come out. I'm like, fuck, dude.
You dummies.
Well, dude, they're all like undercover, like in flannels and long hair and beards, and look like shit, you know? Well, one of them's talking to us, and Z's not there. It's just me and Jay, Mr. J. And we noticed, dude, that the one of the cops is a dude that like we grew up with. Like, he used to smoke weed with him all the time, dude, and he became a cop and got on Z's, you know, nuts and finally popped him. So they tore his whole house apart, dude, and they got like $40,000 and 7 pounds, a bunch of steroids and pills and all this kind of shit. And what had happened is one of our really good friends got pissed at Z one day because he wouldn't front him a 40 sack. So he called the cops and set up a sting. And they had caught him a few times selling small sacks in a church parking lot. And he said that he was a major ecstasy seller, and so that's why they really went nuts on him. He didn't have any ecstasy at all. So he got busted. So the cops said, hey, we got Z and his girl at the cop shop. Do you want to stay here and keep the house down? And we're like, well, fuck yeah. You know, because I'm living in Portland at the time. So Mr. J and me were you know, it's like...
Sorry, but so the cops don't know anything about you and Mr. J? Okay, they just think you're just...
He knows it. I mean, dude, you know, they knew, but they
can't do anything.
Yeah. So, so we're in Z's house and we're watching some TV and shit, and so we're hanging out, and then finally, you know, we pass out like at 5, 6 in the morning. Well, like at 8 in the morning, the fucking door knocks, like pounding on the door, and so I get up and I open the door, and when I open it, it's my guy that I had dealt with in Cali, with that
Rick?
the guy who Rick.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen him since, and I was like, oh fuck. So I opened up and I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, oh shit, what's up, bro? And I was like, yeah, nothing. And he said, he comes in, he's like, hey man, so they're telling me like that you left for Portland because all that shit that happened. I was like, yeah. He's like, hey dude, don't worry about it, it's handled. He's like, anybody gives you any shit, you let them know you're my boy. And I was like, yeah dude, that's cool, but everybody wants to, especially in this game, everybody trying to get up, everybody's gonna try to play the hero, you know, so I'm gonna be that guy who somebody's gonna want to be hero and, you know, take care of me or whatever. And so he's like, nah dude,
deal with you.
Yeah, deal with me. And so he's like, no, you're straight, you're cool dude, everything's kosher, blah,
and you're
blah.
like, no, I like cock.
Yeah. And I'm like, cool, dude. So, so then, you know, I went back down to Portland and told my folks I'm moving back, and you know they're fucking pissed, and so I moved back, and
Jesus Christ,
and
you're back in the game.
Yeah, well, no, everything's cool, and I'm just like, you know, yeah, I was back in the game. And I just wanted to kind of get whatever. So then I go back up, and I had hooked up all these, you know, I was hooked up with all these people in Portland now. So then I go up and bring it down, and then I get pulled over by a cop, and I have a pound broken down into eighths, half ounces, all in one big bag.
Like that.
It's a state cop, and it was in this duffel bag, and in the trunk, and so he pulls me over. I have a suspended license, so he's going to tow my car. He puts me in the back of the, you know, I have my backpack and shit.
So he pulled you over for what, though?
Speeding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just almost to the Oregon border, man. And so, which, dude, if you're a drug dealer, don't fucking speed. Drive a regular car.
Me?
No.
Don't speed. That's the...
Yours can't even speed if it wanted to,
Yeah,
Tyler.
no. You can't go over 65, which is nice.
So the cop takes me out. He puts me in the back of his car. And then says he's going to do a full inventory of my car. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm fully fucked now. Because this is like interstate, federal, you know, ugly.
Yeah.
So he searched my car, and I'm watching him. He opens the trunk up. He sees that big fucking hockey bag in the back. And hockey bags are only for 2 things, hockey gear and weed. That's all you use those things for. And he opens it up, dude. And he's looking through, and then he zips it up and closes the trunk. I'm like, what the fuck, really? So he comes back. He's like, so we're towing your car. I'll take you down to the closest rest area and let you out. I'm like, dude, this is my lucky fucking day. So he takes me to the rest area, and I get out, and he's got my backpack in the front seat with him, and he opens the door, gives me my backpack, and now I'm sitting there like an asshole. So I open up my backpack to get my phone out, and all the weed's in the backpack. I forgot I moved it.
Oh,
It was sitting next to him in a hot fucking day in that car, and he never opened it. So, dude, that shit, that still fucks me today, thinking of that would have been a huge life changer in itself, right? So then I start questioning, like, all right, dude, like, you know, you're 28 now. I think I was 28 or so. And like,
God, I'm still tripping off of that.
You need to get your shit straight because you're getting like all these chances.
Yeah,
you
these
know?
signs.
Yeah.
And you're not a religious dude.
No, not at all. But I'm just like, dude, you need to pay attention to your life. Like, it's giving you some really good lessons here that you need to learn from. So I end up going, I keep selling. I go,
the lesson I learned is, fuck it, I'm untouchable.
Right.
Lesson learned, invincible.
So, and this is going to pick back up after this little quick story, which is going to lead into my whole witness protection thing. So you know, starting back in probably like 98, I started doing shows, promoting shows, and we did hip hop shows, and you know, so we did things with the Black Eyed Peas back when they were nothing at all, like nothing. You know, just a bunch of really Beanie Man, a bunch of really cool shows and shit, and so I was working with this one dude. He was one of my best friends, dude, and he passed away, and no, motorcycle wreck.
But naturally.
Naturally, though, yeah.
Jesus.
He was a bad motherfucker, too, dude.
It was like somebody else. It's not like he was.
No, he wasn't dealt.
This is one of his best friends.
Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay.
Fuck you.
Can you pause real quick? So I gotta take a piss.
Oh, okay. Pick back up. All right. Do you remember where we were?
Yeah. So.
He died on the motorcycle.
Yeah. So that
I
happened.
thought it'd be funny to do a joke there.
Yeah. Did Harley take him out? All right.
Phil, he just trumped you.
It's insensitive.
Well, okay.
Kawasaki. I'm sorry.
God.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
This is.
I'm sorry. It was okay at that point.
He did die on Kawasaki, you asshole.
You know, I actually really do have. I have a friend who passed away from a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, they're
It's really sad.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, 2003. So anyways, okay, so we were doing shows, and so one show in particular we did was this Beanie Man show, who's this old school,
I know who he is.
yeah. And we did this venue, and we get all done, dude, and all the money's gone. You know, as we're all wrapped up. Now you gotta understand, dude, I was at this point, I was now with this this crew of folks that was pretty well known in the city I was living in.
Known for?
Just well known. Just well known. Everybody knew who that little certain clique was and who was involved with that clique. And
We'll call him the Clique.
yeah.
Everybody knew the Clique.
Yeah. So we'll call my buddy E40.
Okay, perfect.
So
Perfect.
So anyway, so we're doing this Beanie Man show, and you know, there's probably like 10 of us. There's usually about 10 of us that, rolled around together, and we get done with this show, and we were co-producing it with this other girl, and this is so fucking weird. If you could see what I'm seeing right now,
Jesus Christ.
these two are gonna fuck tonight.
Yeah, dude.
We have plans.
It's gonna happen.
I'm gonna take another picture of that.
Yeah. It gets closer and closer.
Do it.
This is going to be the longest interview ever.
No
we
doubt.
have tickets for a game. We got to get.
Okay, yeah. So let's wrap it.
Well, it's you weirdos.
So, where was I? I keep forgetting.
Everybody knew the Click.
Oh yeah,
Your
so
boy
we did this
E40.
Beanie Man show, and
And the money disappeared.
Money disappears. So we're all in the car, and dude, in E40's car, and we're trying to figure out, what the fuck, like what happened. And one of the producers, it was her and this dude, and the producer, she puts her head through the door, and I'm sitting shotgun, and E40 sitting, his driver, right?
When you say put her head through the door, you mean like she peeked in?
Through the window, yeah. The window's down, so she's like putting her head through
passenger side?
No, through the driver's side to E40.
Like the dude slammed her.
No.
Fucking door or something.
No, and so E40's up front, and I'm sitting. Thanks, and I'm sitting next, and then one of the producers, the dude, is sitting in the back seat behind my buddy E40, and then there's two other dudes. This huge Samoan guy and this huge Mexican dude who used to go everywhere with us, and they're both fucking hotheads. Like, oh God, they're great. So we're sitting there, and the girl pokes her head through the window to Eric, and she goes,
E40?
Fuck, to E40,
Yeah.
and goes, yeah, Jesus, and he goes, she says, hey, that dude's got your money. The one sitting behind E40. And so he looks over at me, I'm like, yep. So we fucking go down the street to this Holiday Inn hotel, which is like this huge skyscraper hotel in the city. And we get there, dude, and we all get out of the car. This dude has no fucking clue what's going on.
And let me guess, as you're riding there, he's like, hey, guys, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He's your best friend.
It's the best. And we know it's in his shoe. It's in his boot. He's got Timberlands on. And we're all just so fucking stoked. And they didn't know, the Samoan and the Mexican in back, they had no idea at all yet. So we get over to the Holiday Inn, and we get out of the car, and E grabs the dude, and our other two guys have no fucking clue what's going on. But here's the thing, is if you ever fuck with E40,
Right. The Click's there.
even so, like when I first met one of E40's buddies who I had never met from Africa, and he's straight off the boat, African, speaks very little English.
Whoa, dude.
He's about 6'6", built like a brick shit house, like fucking just muscled up, dude. And I
Just use me as a reference.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I said some shit to E one time. I was like, I talked some kind of, quick shit. Because, dude, I used to live with the guy. Like, we were close as fuck. And, dude, this guy got fucking pissed. Like, got right up on me. And he's like, dude, hey, it's cool, man. It's cool. He's like, alrighty. He was almost like a dumb dog, because he was just so, honest. So anyways, we get out, and he grabs the guy out, and I know what's up, so I come over, and dude, as soon as these guys see E grab that guy, they just lost their shit. So we take this dude.
I love that they could start beating the shit out as they're hitting him, going, why are we hitting him?
Yeah.
Why are we,
But all one of
Good.
So the only thing, one of the dudes, the Samoan guy, he wanted the dude's boots. Like, they were branded Timberlands, dude. He wanted those fucking boots for himself. So we take him over, E and one of the other guys puts him over this big flower stand thing, and they're, wrestling around and kind of getting some jabs in there and shit, and they rip his shoes off, and this cash goes flying everywhere.
Oh, shit.
So then that's when everything just goes nuts. Now, obviously, this kid had been doing some lines of coke, or he'd smoked a little crack or something, because this guy was energized. Nothing could fade him. He was, like on this whole other
Strict
level.
10 men.
Oh, Jesus. So he runs into, he slips out and he runs into the Holiday Inn thinking like that's going to save him. All of us run into that fucking Holiday Inn. I go, and it's kind of this melee, so no, somebody picked that up, but all the rest of us. And dude, now also, there's another car the caddy had pulled up with all these other dudes. And,
Part of the Click?
Yeah, and it's fucking mayhem, dude. And just to be clear, I'm the only white dude out of the whole bunch, so it's like this whole nation.
So you're like the brains of the operation.
Totally. And if we ever got pulled over, I'd do the talking. So So they're beating shot. So he runs
I was
into
like, yeah. Oh, that's
God.
racist.
You idiots.
So he runs into the Holiday Inn, and I tell the front door dude, "Hey, don't call the cops. We got this handled. It'll just take a sec." And now, and so we all run. Now there's probably 5 of us and this guy in this back room where they take reservations and all the computers and all that shit, like their back office. And we're taking monitors and throwing them on the dude's head. And like, I mean, do we shut this hotel down like completely?
And apparently that guy's head.
Yeah. So what's cool is right on the back of this hotel is a highway. It's right on the very back of this Holiday Inn.
Oh, God.
So I run over and get the car, pull up, everybody hops in the back of it, and we get on that highway and bounce out because the cops had come at that point. And we got out of there, had our money,
Timberland.
had the Timberlands.
Okay.
Kids.
Is the dude.
He just got completely.
He was dealt with.
He got completely fucked up. But like I said, dude, he wouldn't go down. I mean, he was just like, this kid was nuts. He wasn't tough or anything. He was just nuts. So from there, we went and it was probably 3-4 weeks later. We had another show we were doing, and so we had all these flyers made. And I'm kind of just giving you that first story was kind of set up the rest of this, how things were. So we're out throwing these flyers around, and this guy, there's these 2 kids taking a piss on a buddy of ours' truck, who we weren't with that buddy, but we know his truck. It stood out, and he's pissing on it. So Eric, and again...
You mean E40?
Goddamn motherfucker.
I'll bleep it out.
So E40 says to the kids, "Hey, don't piss on that truck. It's my buddy's." And he was being cool about it. And one of them turns around and says, "Hey, go fuck yourself." And we were with...
You never know who you're talking to.
No, you don't. But at the same time, dude, it's like,
I mean, you should be
those
doing that
dudes I
anyways.
was with, I would never fuck with those guys.
Right.
I mean, they're fucking animals, dude.
Right.
Just looking at them. And if I told you all their real names, you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, right." Like...
One's
Fitz.
like the animal.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Like the animal.
So...
That's what I just said.
You
God.
said the animal.
I said like the animal.
Oh, there was a pause.
Oh, God.
And so then, he said, the kid says, "Go fuck yourself" or whatever. And so one of the Samoan guy, he says some shit back to the guy. And then Eric says something. And this dude takes
E40.
God damn it, E40. You know what? You can just say Eric. It doesn't matter.
It's just gonna be bleep, bleep.
It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
I
Eric's
think
fine.
that's what we're taking from this.
Yeah,
story
it's
is
fine. It doesn't
don't worry
matter.
about it.
So,
Okay.
you know what's worse than the story I'm telling? By the way,
I do.
do you know what it is? What's worse than the story I'm
I
telling?
do.
What is it?
I don't know.
No, tell me what's worse than the story I'm telling right now.
The fact that you can't bleep yourself properly.
No, it's the fact that I'm smelling Jay's ass right now. This is what's worse than the
really?
fucking story I'm
I'm
telling.
glad that you're over there.
Anyway, so one of the kids throws a bottle at Eric's head, and so
Do you want me to bleep this?
no, you can keep
Okay.
Eric. So he completely one of the 2 dudes loses his shit and grabs one of our guys, grabs one of the other guys, and they're fighting out in between these cars. And so this dude comes out from nowhere out of this Mercedes SUV. He's this bald guy. He's got like a black vest on with a white shirt and jeans. Kind of looks like that wrestler Steve Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, but not as big, And he comes out. He's like, "Hey, you two, enough. Let's go." And says that to these 2 kids. Well, fuck, those 2 kids stop what they're doing and like start walking away. It was like instant. Well, as they're walking away, they're talking shit, and then they say something about one of the dude's moms, that I'm with. And so he says something back. Well, one of those kids beelines towards my guy, right? And so my guy, takes him and starts fucking him up. And so then the other dude comes over, not the Steve Austin guy, but another guy comes over, and then one of our other dudes is fighting with him. And me and Eric are just standing there watching. Eric's fine. And we're just standing watching. And this white dude comes back over, and he's standing right fucking next to us. And he says, "That's enough. And he says some like movie line, like, "I'll put a cap in all you motherfuckers," and he pulls a gun out. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. And so then we start backing up, the fight stops, right? And we start backing up, and then he starts shooting. And he's shooting down, not necessarily at us, but he clipped through Eric's jeans, right?
Jesus
and
Christ!
He could feel it. So now we all hightail it back to the BMW, and then Eric grabs his Glock out and starts firing him out the side of the car. This is
Escalated.
right in the middle of this downtown area. Like this isn't
Because somebody was pissing on somebody.
yeah.
It's during the day, broad day.
Night. It was at night when we were throwing flyers out for a show we were doing. So then all of a sudden, dude, every fucking cop in the world comes, obviously, and they're cuffing everybody up, and then for whatever reason, dude, they let all of us go, and they took the one dude,
Steve Austin.
Yeah, because it never got brought up that any of us were firing any weapons at all, like that, But they got the gun on him and took him in. So now the DA's calling all of us into the, a couple days later, is calling us into the office, and we go in there, and it's all four of us, and I did most of the talking, and I said, look, man, like, you want us to spill on all this shit that happened, the shit happened, and it's over, it's done, we're not going to keep going out. And it wasn't, we hadn't called the cops. Those other dudes didn't call the cops. We didn't call the DA. Those other dudes didn't. It was kind of like the DA's put himself in the middle of it because of the shit that happened, which I get. But, dude, in the state of Washington, no witness, no crime. And
State of
yeah. And so we don't want to, I didn't want to rock the boat. None of us wanted to deal with that. We all kind of had our own little dirty thing we were doing too. So no spotlights. Right. Well, so we're telling you can't guarantee anybody's safety. Nothing happened. You guys are kind of living in this whole la la land, and we know how shit works down here. So, dude, we're not gonna do any of this. So we leave. And at the time, I owned a limo company, and so did Eric. He owned a limo company too. And I get this call the next day. And they wanted to do this pickup. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I get this call, and they wanted to get picked up like 9 or 10 at night. And so I was like, yeah, cool. And I dealt with, especially in that whole limo business, dude, you deal with a lot of weird fucking people, just in general. Who wants to rent a car? I mean, it takes a certain type anyway to have a limo. So this guy, he calls up, and dude, I've talked to this guy like 9 times this day. He's like, can you pick me up at this terminal? Can you pick me up here? He's like, keeps switching it up. So now I'm like, on my way, and he wants the owner to come of the company, right? Because he says it's a big deal, and he doesn't want to have some, just some driver. He wants somebody who's professional. And I was like, dude, I got it handled, no problem. So I'm on my way there, and he's calling me. He's like, are you on your way? I was like, yeah. He's like, you made sure to bring the owner, right? And I said, yeah, I'm coming. So then I park, and he calls again. He's like, where are you? I said, I'm right in front of the terminal. He's like, well, can you come down in front of this terminal? So now I go to that terminal. He calls again. He's like, you here? And I was like, yeah, I'm right down at the bottom of the stairs. He's like, is that you outside the car? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay, cool. All right, so check it out. Did you talk to the DA today? I was like, huh? So you talked to the district attorney today? I was like, fuck no, man. He's like, all right, well, hey, let's do this. Everything that happened didn't happen. You don't know shit. Forget about everything that happened. If you, he's like, dude, you don't want to see which way this goes. He's just talking all this shit, right? Well, while he's saying this shit, I'm in my car and the fuck out. So I'm talking to him on the phone. He's like, you need to forget about everything, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, it's cool. He's like, we clear? I was like, dude, we're fucking crystal clear. I don't give a fuck. It's over. So as I'm driving down the street, I'm going back to Eric's house, dude. I'm boning the fuck out. And I call Eric. I was like, dude, we need to be ready for all this shit, so I'm almost at your place, So I get over to, as I'm going there, the dude calls again. He's like, hey, it's me again. I was like, what's up? And he said, I want to make sure we're clear. I was like, dude, it's cool, dude. We're fine. So I get back to the house. Well, the next day, the DA had called, because nothing happened at the house, and I just got the fuck out. The next day, the DA called, and he's like, look, this guy's a motorcycle club. He's initiating to get into this motorcycle club, and he's a prospect, and, he's got a case in Spokane for stabbing someone, and he's got this, and, he's got all these different fucking things, right? And I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Like, you don't know shit.
Right.
And he said, the person in Spokane had dropped the thing against him, no witness, so he's getting off on that. And he's like, he's a troublemaker. And I was like, yeah, obviously, dude. He pulled a gun out without even fucking thinking about it. So we just left it alone. That was that. So 5 years later,
Jesus.
I have moved to a whole nother state, and I go out into my car to go to this meeting, and I'm driving, and there's this Explorer behind me, following me. And so I feel like he's following me, but it's kind of a small town, so, we all kind of go the same way. So I go, like, all these weird ways, and the motherfuckers follow me every weird turn I take. So I call my pops up, or no, too quick. So then I go back towards my neighborhood, but I'm like, all right, dude, I'm not going to go to my house, obviously, though, right? So I go to this neighborhood, and then there's this dude that I know out front of his house, and so I pull over, and I get out of my car, because the Explorer's way down the street, and I was like, what the fuck's up? Like, I'm scared about it. I'm pissed about it.
Like, what the fuck's up?
No, I'm just like, all these fucking emotions. Like, what the fuck, dude? And so he turns and takes a left and goes the other way. So I get in my car like an idiot, and I start going after him. Like, fuck you, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? I can't find him anywhere. So now I go back to my house, right? And I go inside and I call my dad. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I think somebody's following me around, but I couldn't really tell. And he's an older dude. He's like this older white guy. But I can't really, I don't get any. He broke off the other way. As I'm talking to my dad, I see this red color go on the other side of my blinds outside. I'm like, what the fuck? So I bring the blinds down. That motherfucker's outside of my house now. Yikes. With 4 dudes in his car. Total. So I'm standing at my thing. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm fucked. Like, dude, I don't even, and it's like tinted windows,
this is
right?
Like movie shit.
Yeah, so they get out of their car, and they're all in suits. And it's the FBI, the U.S. Marshal, the city's attorney, and some other fucking dude. And so they tell me that there's this RICO thing going. You know what RICO is?
Yeah.
For those who don't know what RICO is, it's like a racketeering and... So it's what they use for mobs, basically. That if you are tight, it was how they got mob bosses.
Anybody who's seen The Dark Knight?
Yeah. So if you order, it used to be like, mob bosses would order people to kill somebody, and then, they wouldn't get hemmed up because they didn't do the killing.
Yeah.
But now RICO is everybody in the organization is involved. So there was this big.
It's also a Mexican rapper.
So there's this big RICO thing, which so they'd come down and they. This guy was involved that shot at us. It was involved in it, and Eric at this point had died, and the other 2 dudes are fucking jailbirds, and I was the only one on a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
So and he died in 2003, and then this shit was happening like in 2004, 2005. So they fly me to Seattle that second.
Is that cool to say the city?
Yeah, because this is where they had to fly me to do whatever the fuck they were doing, and so they fly me out to the city, and they want me to go do this whole grand jury thing, and I was like, dude, that's a whole lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know shit. I don't remember shit. I don't, that
Involving what? Which story?
The shooting in the parking lot.
That nobody got even hurt?
Yeah, but what happened was he was a major player in this whole investigation, and so they basically wanted all these witnesses to come through to reinforce the RICO.
Because of the because of the ties to the motorcycle club?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then because I wouldn't.
So anything that they could nail him on, basically.
Yeah, within that organization. So I told them, dude, I didn't know anything, and I wasn't saying anything, and so they flew me back out the next day, because I was just being uncooperative. But then they subpoenaed me to grand jury like a month or 2 later, and so I was like, dude, fuck. So I loaded my pockets. I'm flying up there. I loaded my pockets up with weed, you know, because I was just tripping. I was like, fuck you, dude.
Start selling again.
No, I'm gonna go with weed. I'm not gonna go deal. Yeah, I'm not gonna go deal with this shit. You know, with no weed. So I'm getting on a fucking airplane cross country with just weed sitting in my pocket. Like I didn't even try to hide it because I thought to myself, well, the feds are gonna pick me up, so you know I must be like law free at this point. So I get they land the plane and they stopped the plane on the tarmac, and it was kind of weird. They drove this lit up Camaro, you know, with blue and red lights out to the tarmac, and brought the stair thing up when I walked down the stairs on the tarmac into a car, and then they let the plane go up to the thing. So they got me out before. And they put me up
the people on the plane must have been like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, dude, it was weird, man. And then I got...
Wait, and with that, so it stops on the tarmac, and then how did you know that was for you?
Because they came and got me.
Oh, so they were like...
Yeah, federal marshals on the...
Don't say his name.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow, first, last. My social is...
Yeah, that'll be
that's
bleeped out.
That's getting bleeped out hard.
Mr. X, sorry. Holy shit.
I'm the only one following the rules, right?
Even the guy telling the story isn't.
Two dummies over here.
Jesus Christ. Holy fuck.
Yeah, so they took,
Phil and I making out. I'm like, don't say names.
So they took me, you know, into this hotel room, and I had the dude that's, you know, outside of my, well, multiple dudes, but there was always a dude outside of my door. And then what was fucked up was when I had to go to the courthouse, they told me to come over and there was going to be a guy there for me. Not only was there not a guy there for me and there's nobody on the street at the time, but the doors were locked. So I was standing there like a complete fucking open target.
Yeah.
Like a prick. At this thing. Yeah, so at the end of it, you know, they got all these guys on, you know, murder charges and, you know, extortion, racketeering, all this shit. And they ended up not needing me, which was great. They just had me as a number and whatever. You know, but I wasn't talking anyway because it's not my gig. So anyways, what they ended up doing is there was all this shit being talked about. And because all the top guys had gotten clipped on this thing, they had put me into, at that point, witness protection assistance, which means I didn't have to change my name or anything, but it wiped me away from all public records for 14 years. And, you know, and so nobody can necessarily find, you know, where I am, who I am, where I live, all that kind of shit.
And didn't you, like, after that happened...
This had nothing to do with you selling weed.
No, that part didn't. But what was interesting, though,
like,
is...
I'm clear.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Witness something.
Yeah, that's all that was. But it was a fucking nutty experience to go through, dude. But I'll give you my one last thing, and then we can do this. So
no, it's fine.
My weed thing here though is the thing that got me out of the weed game completely was something that happened in one day. Is I was doing again. You know, I'd always deal with people I knew, and then I worked with legitly because I always felt like it was, you know, I wouldn't get fucked that way. And there was this one dude. God, I'd love to say his name because he's a fucking fuck. He's probably in jail by now. But anyways, he was this dude who we did 3 years in a row. We did these New Year's Eve shows downtown on First Ave. And they were super dope shows. We made some good money. This guy was really stand up, super cool dude. So he's telling me how he's got these guys in Oakland that just come up and they need they need some weed and they wanted a 5-pack. And again, dude, I worked with this guy for years, and he's like, dude, come meet me at the apartment. And so I was like, all right, dude, I'll meet you at the apartment, and we'll get it all handled. So this time, I go with one of my buddies who's this huge dude, and he goes in a separate car. So he's parked just down the way, watching everything, and I'm parked here, and I've got 5 pounds in a Louis Vuitton bag. And this dude, he gets in the car, and he's like, you got it? And I was like, yeah, it's right back there. And he's like, okay, my boys are inside, I'll go get it handled. And then he showed me his gun. And I'm like, yeah, sweet. You know, he just picked it up or whatever. I'm like, yeah, dude, super dope. And he opens up the back slider of the van to get the shit out. And when he's in there, he's like, and I thought he was fucking around. He's like, man, you're the shittiest drug dealer in the world. And I was like, dude, go fuck yourself. Get this handled. Let's, you know, get going. So he goes, grabs it, and he goes into and my buddy's watching, you know, everything's cool. He goes into the garage of the apartment and then into the apartment, and he doesn't come back. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So my buddy comes, drives his car up, and, you know, we both get out, and we go through the door into the apartment. Well, dude, there was no apartment on the other side. It was apartment buildings, but these are all like standalones that had back doors out into the alleyway. And so he just ran out and took it. And so I called him, and he was friends with Eric. And that's how I met him. So I'm calling him. He's being a cocksucker, dude. He's this like 45-year-old dude who's, he's just being a dick and telling me to go fuck myself and all that kind of shit, right? So I call up Eric and I'm telling him what's happening. He's like, all right, well, let me see what I can do. So he's making some calls and shit and leaving messages, and the guy's not getting back to him. So we knew where he lived, and he had a wife and a kid,
Idiot.
a daughter in some other city. So I called up a couple of my buddies, and one of them was a walk-on for the Seahawks back in the day. And, these are like huge fucking nasty dudes. So we drive to the dude's house, and he's out of town, and we knew that, right? So we went to the house, and I call him, and he doesn't answer, and I leave a message. I was like, hey, what's up, man? So, wife's looking hot tonight, bro. Seeing what she's making, see your daughter's getting ready for bed or something.
Holy shit.
So, hey, if you feel like calling back, give me a call, dude. I'll tell you what else they're doing. Some, crazy shit like that. That motherfucker called right back.
Dude.
And then he started talking some hairy shit too, saying, you do any, you fuck with my kids or whatever, fuck with this, and we'll come do this. And it just kept going back and forth. And then at the end, he didn't give a fuck. It was kind of, everybody always tries to kind of call your bluff. Yeah. And he called it because you're not going to fuck with a wife and a kid. I mean, that's dumb. Nothing's worth that. And so I left, dude. And that was, I got jacked for the last time. And then I was out. That was it. So...
I would have to say it's probably better that you retired.
Yeah, so I couldn't handle anymore, and it just got to be so cutthroat, and everybody trying to fuck each other, and if it's business, it's one thing, but once people started, stealing and jacking,
now
it gets out of control.
Once you got into the witness protection assistance or whatever, wasn't there times where you've been pulled over by cops and like?
Yep, and that fucks you even more. Because, a lot of, like when they run something, I think it goes to the Secretary of State or this, something like that, to their address. And so it looks all bullshit, and so I always have to explain, and then they have to get on the phone to somebody and, explain it all. But yeah, it's kind of a hassle sometimes.
You have to tell them I'm in the witness protection assistance? Oh, okay. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You guys have anything?
It's fucking insane.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of good other stories, but dude, that would take hours, and I want to make a movie out of it at some point. So.
All right. So you got a worthless Phil for this? Or worthy?
My worthless will be, I don't know. You go first. I don't have anything.
Well, Tyler, he's got one.
This last night I was at Jai Thai, and this dude kicked my drink out of my hand. And fucking.
On purpose?
No, he just I was just sitting, like that row of benches or whatever. And he just kicked my drink right out of my hand, didn't notice. Totally, I mean, he didn't notice my drink was right there, but he knew he kicked my drink, and he just kept going. And he just sat right next to me.
Well, at least he bought you a new one.
No.
Motherfucker.
Didn't even acknowledge that he kicked my drink over. His friends, I just go, thanks for the drink, asshole. I put it down on his table, and I walk out. And his buddy comes out and goes, do you want us to buy you another drink? I'm like, no.
No, dude. I don't need to ask you to, fucker.
I was so mad.
Hey, did he get dealt with?
And he got dealt with.
You killed him?
Holy shit. Holy shit. All right.
Just kidding.
So mad.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude.
I'm going to say the audience at Jai Thai pissed me off so much last night. That would be my worthless today.
The audience of Jai Thai pissed you off?
What's that sound?
What
Is that yours, Phil? For Tacoma? You dummy.
How many phones you got?
My other worthless of the week is Phil Fox with his multiple cell phones in and around the apartment.
Weirdo.
Answering them. Tacoma Comedy Club. Is he getting tickets?
He's going into my toilet to go.
Jesus.
What was it? You said the audience at Jai Thai was bad?
Yeah, dude, they were just talking. It was Patrick Higgins' friends. Were chatting the entire show. And it wasn't his friend who kicked my drink out of my hand. But
Did you tell him to shut the fuck up?
Yeah. Everybody did. Multiple people did. The host did. Fucking
Who's hosting?
Evan
Evan Morrison?
Yeah.
Nice.
And like, oh dude, I was so livid. I actually got up and left. I like just left the whole show. I was there just to see Kelsey and Kane perform.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even get to
that's
them.
right.
I just fucking left. I was so pissed. She just called me too. I wonder what that was about.
Nice. And do you have a worthy?
Worthy of the week. I don't know. I would have to. You say you're worthless, and let me think about it for a second.
Worthless. I'll go with the same worthless as you, Phil.
Phil Fox. Yeah, that's a good.
Fucking Phil's handling a business call right now because he helps manage the Tacoma Comedy Underground. My worthy. You know what my worthy's going to be?
Huh.
A new member of the Podaholics Comedy Network.
Yeah,
I
that
was
sounds
just about
super
to
cool.
say-
What is that, by the way?
That can be your worthy. No, that'd be conceited, so I'll
No,
do
I
it
was
for
gonna say
you.
my worthy is gonna be my homie who's sitting over here, who's gonna be helping me film my show. I'm really
Okay,
excited
so
about it.
Dope.
part of the Podaholic, we're mentioning it now because this podcast is part of the Podaholics Comedy Network. But go to podaholics.com for all your comedy needs. But Tyler is going to have a show on there. Tell him about the show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a marijuana cooking show. So we're gonna have comics come on there, and we're gonna cook their favorite dishes and
And it's a video and audio.
video and audio.
Yeah.
So it'll be on my website, and we'll link it up with Podaholics. It's gonna be pretty cool.
It's going to be fucking. And you're not sure on the name yet.
No, not really.
All right.
It might be the Token Kitchen
Or Legalized Pod.
or Legalized Pod,
Uh,
because that's been purchased.
it is. You don't have to use it. Did you figure one out, Phil?
My worthless of the week.
Yeah.
My worthless of the week would be. I really suck at this shit.
Abstinence?
Oh no, oil changes. Oh wait, I think I did oil changes.
did it on the other one, yeah.
Oh fuck. That shows how often we do these.
I know what your worthy is this week.
Looking at my status.
Yeah.
Let's go see who recently liked Phil Fox's status update.
Yeah, all of us.
My worthless of the week would be people that just can't let a guy be
Oh,
happy
God.
and not happy
Oh my
shit
god.
all the time and try to
Nice.
ruin everything.
Oh,
Anybody who
God.
does that's fucking worthless.
What's your Mr. X?
Mine are connected. So my worthless is watching the new Arrested Development. That's but my worthy is watching it a second time. Because dude, anybody who doesn't like it, you're right. It does kind of suck because it's not the same. But dude, watch it again and you totally get it. It's a fucking great.
Really?
Yeah, great
I liked
force.
it.
All right, I gotta
Yeah.
catch up.
I liked it.
I'm
Especially after
catching
the fourth episode is when it starts to pick up. I
Yeah,
guess
I didn't really like how they did the flashbacks.
I was kind of and especially with the
With different actors.
with Kristen Wiig and shit.
Yeah,
that
I
was
like, the fuck?
dumb.
I thought it was hilarious when they did flashbacks with Maybe, and she still has like double D's. Like,
Yeah, no
13
shit,
with
huh?
giant tits. Like,
It's crazy.
this is like,
I have to catch up.
yeah, you gotta check it out. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
All right, so Mr. X, your Twitter? No. All right, Phil is on Twitter at Like the Animal.
Yeah.
His website is
FoxLikeTheAnimal.com.
FoxLikeTheAnimal.com.
By the time this podcast is out,
It's coming
it
out.
might be-
This will be Tuesday.
Oh, this one's going.
This
out
one's
soon?
going out first at all.
Oh, okay.
We've recorded a few this week.
Oh, okay, great.
All right, Tyler is at
Hi BS.
Hi HIGHBS at Hi BS on Twitter.
You can see my website, whosmokesweed.me.
Is it up now?
It's still a picture of me.
Who smokes weed.me? That's great.
Who
What
smokes
the
weed.me.
fuck?
Anyway,
And also you can catch all of us on the Podaholics Comedy Network at podaholics.com and jokeaweek.com. Go there. Oh, do you guys have anything coming up this next week?
What about
I'm going to be
Twitter?
at Tacoma Comedy Club doing the comedy Under the Influence this Sunday, which is a great show. It's just like your
Before this podcast is going to come out.
Yeah.
the week after I'll be at Tacoma Comedy Club for another show.
Okay.
So
And then this comes out next Tuesday.
It's this coming Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday. So the evening that this comes out, I'll be at the Can in Pike Place Market
So
doing a show.
go out and see him if you can.
Tonight.
some jokes.
If you can. If you can. If you can. If it...
Jesus. Go to podaholics.com and check out all the podcasts on there. We got Kelsey Cook's Cooked. We got Kane Holloway's My First Time, or Your First Time with Kane Holloway. And then, as always, we have the Punch Pod podcast, which is like a 10-minute roughly podcast of the best.
Compilation.
Yeah, compilation. It's done really good.
Holics one?
It is, buddy.
That's a great. I love that podcast.
I know. It's because you've been on it a couple times.
Several
And then
times.
down the road, you're going to see Tyler on there. So thanks, everybody. Share it, subscribe, review it on iTunes. If you can write a nice little review if you enjoyed this, that'd be great. And thanks to our guest, Mr. X.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, we'll never know, will we?